remember, we're looking at the overall goal is certainty. You've got to have some measure of certainty. That's what we're craving when we're anxious. Like I'm anxious because, you know, when I go up to speak, well, it's funny, when I was going to speak at the convention center for the health show, I was doing a keynote. I remember in the back, and I'm about to step on, and I'm given like the same thing, like I don't know how many times, but I got really anxious and nervous. I was like, I can't believe I'm getting nervous. Why am I getting nervous, right? But then, for me, I have to know where is the certainty. I am certain that the moment I open my mouth, I go right into I know the topic. I'm going to know it more than anybody that's sitting in the audience. So there's certainty that I know what I'm going to say, right? And then where's the control? Well, I have control. I can change my talk anytime. No one's going to know. So do you see how then it makes me feel like, okay, I know what I'm talking about, and I can control the outcome of what I want to say. So then it's, you know, it's easy to comment when you have control. It's obviously that's a little bit more difficult if it's flying. You can't really control the plane, or you can't. You see how there's other things you're going to have to do, okay? But the goal is always how do we gain some measure of certainty, right? So the first, and this is always what I call like the ABCs of symptom relief. So the first one is just awareness of the cause. So you have to be aware of why you're getting that symptom. Why did I just start getting heart palpitations? I never have heart palpitations. Why in the last week do I have heart palpitations? I never get diarrhea. Why am I getting it for the last 3 days? Why am I having breathing difficulties? I never have breathing difficulties. So you have to be aware of the emotional conflict that started all that. So you gotta look. So that's number one. Because knowing this gives you some certainty. Because the majority of the answers you're going to find, whether it's online, Googling, going to a doctor or a practitioner, a lot of the times it creates more uncertainty. Because you're going to be like, what, really? That's what it is? How come I never had problems with that before? Or really, it's in the air, something I'm breathing? Like I'm allergic to pollen? Like I was never allergic. You see how, what does it do? It makes you a little bit more anxious. Okay? And again, it takes away control. So number one, you got to know what it is. And this is where, to me, GNM fits perfect because it allows you to understand every organ, what conflict is associated. Okay? Next thing, you got to break the association to what you think caused it. Okay? So if you're having anxiety and it's tied to like chronic diarrhea, and in your mind it's gluten and sugar. Well, after tonight, hopefully, you're going to know, oh my gosh, it's got nothing to do with gluten and sugar. It has to do with the fact that, you know, I was moved out of this school between this grade. You know, when I was in elementary school. That makes sense. Oh my gosh, okay, I got it. Now you got to get out of your head that sugar and gluten is dangerous for you. You have to. Otherwise, every time you eat it, you will react. Because if you reinforce it enough in your body will believe you and say, okay, you're saying gluten and sugar is dangerous. I believe you. Anytime there's any taste of sugar and gluten, I'll give you symptoms so you can get it out of our system. Okay, so you have to work on that. Otherwise, every time you eat, it becomes an anxious time because there's uncertainty of, is this going to, you know, be okay, or is it going to pass right through me? I got to run to the bathroom. So you have to break that association. You have to tell yourself, it's got nothing to do with the food. It has to do with this incident that created an anger at that time in my life. Okay? And then you've got to be able to change your perspective. Right? So how do you change your perspective? Well, you got to change your perspective. You got to change your perspective over the symptom. You got to now know that this symptom doesn't mean there's something wrong. This symptom means that I'm trying to resolve or heal something. It's like a warning signal to tell me that I got to work on something emotionally in my life. So every time I get the symptom, I got more emotional work I got to do. Do you see what I mean? So the symptom is a sign of that. And then the other thing you got to change your perspective of is you got to change your perspective over the conflict. You got to say, okay, so if it has to do with that breakup, you know, let's say it was a bad breakup in your teens, like how long am I going to hold on to that bad breakup? Right? I'm now in my 30s, I'm now in my 40s. Who cares about that? You see how you've got to have that awareness and that choice to be able to say, yeah, that bothered me back then, it doesn't bother me today. Okay? That's part of the work, right? That changing your perspective over the original conflict. And that's what closes those hanging issues.